Hi, Jeremy Ashman of the BA Guide here. In this video, we're going to start at kind of a high level and understand what value a business analyst brings to organizations. Ultimately, why would a company hire a business analyst or have one employed as part of their payroll? The business analyst is a change agent. Ultimately, they help that organization to make change. And while that may sound like, well, okay, so every once in a while when the company needs to make a change, they'll bring in a business analyst. But what you're not realizing is companies and organizations are making changes all of the time. They're constantly evolving their business to make them more competitive. They're evolving their business to be more valuable. They're coming up with new products, coming up with new processes, services. They're adjusting and tweaking. And it's just a constant thing that businesses are doing. And, one of my quotes that I always say is the only constant in business is change. Businesses are constantly evolving. Now, the business analysts, they come in and they are helping to enable that change. What I mean by that is think of a business executive. Most of those people are going to be big ideas people or visionaries. They're going to come up with what that vision of what that future could be. Ultimately, they know where they want to get to. But they have no idea how to get there. They have no idea the first step that it would take to start driving them towards that vision. So that's where a business analyst steps in. That business executive or manager is a visionary, and the business analyst is usually the tactician. They're the one coming in, understanding the vision, understanding what that organization's looking to do, looking at where they're at today, and then helping to do a gap analysis and understand what steps it would take for that organization to get from where they're at today to that vision that that executive has. Now, that may sound simple, and sometimes it is if the change is small. But if we're implementing a brand new piece of software, or if we're overhauling a process that's very important to our organization, or if we're creating a new service that our organization is now going to offer, that's going to take a lot of time to put together. So that business analyst is going to understand that vision or that opportunity. They're going to work through and understand the objective and goals of the business, as well as the needs of its stakeholders, which includes both its customers as well as its users, its end users that are actually working with that solution, assuming they're not the same person. So they'll understand those needs, and then they will help to translate that into terms that can be understood by whomever is going to be creating the solution. So for our software example, we're going to be translating those needs into functional ideas for that eventual developer to create that piece of software. So that's what a business analyst is doing. They're helping to enable change within the organization. Now, a lot of questions come up on where the business analyst is engaged. Are they engaged at the beginning, in the middle, at the end? And a business analyst, the role in overall is extremely broad. The business analyst could be in charge of or assisting with helping to identify that problem or that opportunity. They're likely going to be involved with helping to dig out those needs of the business and of its users and customers. They're also going to be helping to potentially design that solution. They're going to be there to answer questions and help with that implementation, the actual creation of that particular solution, testing it, rolling out, training, supporting afterwards, all of that. That business analyst could be involved in that full process. Now, with some organizations, they may be more towards the beginning or used in the middle or towards the end, but it doesn't really matter. Overall, that business analyst is generating value for that organization by helping them to enable change. So I know one thing that students are always asking for are various examples of how a business analyst could, create that value for an organization. So I came up with a couple quick ideas or a couple of quick notes as to how a business analyst can help to enable change. So one way is with our current pandemic, a lot of organizations are moving to full-time work at home. And while they may have had a work at home option available for certain roles or certain positions, they may now be taking their whole company and moving it to a work at home environment. Sounds simple, right? No problem. The person just, doesn't come into work and they work from their house. But what happens? Do they have access to the right device, software? Do they have remote access into the systems of that particular organization, et cetera? There's a lot of risks and challenges that come with that if at initial glance, you may not see them, but they're there and they're very important. So the business analyst may be engaged in that with that company to help them understand ultimately how they reach their vision of a full-time, all employees working at home for their company. So that business analyst would come in, understand the vision, start to understand the needs of the particular users. What do they need to have access to? What do they do on a daily basis? And making sure that they have access to all of those different elements and making sure that that's all either documented or understood, so then solutions can be created to help that company achieve their vision. So that would be one way, and that would be going in and really adjusting those more than likely processes, but then also helping to understand some of those other steps that need to be included in there as well. Another one would be a lot of companies are going to self-service like kiosks or units. Think of like McDonald's, they have their own self-service units where you order your own food. Grocery stores, they have it as well. Gas stations obviously have had it for a long time. So those self-service kiosks or those self-service items, that's going to come with potentially new software or software changes to now be able to do that within their system. It's likely going to come with process changes for how that company handles that self-service, those aisles of that self-service. So a business analyst could be engaged there to help that overall change and help that organization understand what needs to change and then help them move down the path of making that change. Another one is, this one could be more technology related, and that's that particular business analyst could be helping to an organization to move to a new piece of software, to convert to a new CRM or to another system, a new point of sale system. And so they're starting to understand what this current system is and what it does. They're understanding what they want that future system to be able to be, the needs of the users in the organization, and then helping that organization to implement that change. So I hope that general idea and kind of examples of what a business analyst does and how they create value can help you to understand business analysis and why a lot of organizations, if they don't have business analysts today, they certainly have people in that organization that are doing the business analyst related duties. Any type of change needs to have somebody there that's helping to put together the details for how that change would actually be successful.